Welcome to part 18. Well, in part 18, as you can see from the book, they want you to put a film on the back here. Well, you know, some time ago when I first started this, I don't want to put a film on here. I think it's just you're making more work unnecessarily. So I sprayed it, and I sprayed it with Tamiya TS85 bright micro red, but they will actually list it as being Ferrari red, and you know, it's close enough. I think it's just it's a bit much going up as far as doing that, I think, to be honest. You know, you're not going to see it too well. If I put that on there now, that's as much as you're going to see, so I don't think it's worth it. The next part is to do the winglet. Now the underneath is pretty well straightforward. I cut it so that I could get past the axles and made this here and here and here and here and here in one piece. That wasn't difficult, if I'm being absolutely truthful. Top is a bit more difficult. It might be advisable for some people to put it in strips as individual ribs, because it's difficult to get round these legs because they're in place. I did make a mistake on here, and I own up to that. But you know, it's because I'm trying to get past these, so I've had to repair that. But otherwise, you know, the bottom's okay. The bottom's easy. It's quite difficult to do the top because of the legs, but you know, you just have to find your own way with that. Then they ask you to cover the battery bay, which I haven't done yet. I'm going to do it. In fact, I'm going to do it next. And what I might do is I might make another hatch as well, because I want to be able to gain access to the servos in case I need to adjust them, because it's not my intention to glue this directly straight into place. I want to make sure that all my adjustments are correct on the trim, etc. Then once I'm sure, then yes, I will glue this in. So that's where we're going with that. So after the battery bay, we have to do the cabanes and tail struts, so I'll do that next. I do realise that the last two videos were actually quite long, but I thought it worth doing and not editing everything out, because it gives you a good indication of how long these things actually take. Sometimes I think it takes longer to cover it than it does to build it. Anyway, there you go. So we're going to do the battery bay next. Hi, well, progress. So I've done the cabanes, and what you need to do is try and keep as much of this wood free as you can. If you go over it, just run a blade straight over like that, peel it off both sides. Try and keep the one side free so that you can run your cables down it when you come to get the cables to come down from the servos. So you've obviously got two of those going on, a right and a left. And as you can see, I've still got them marked left and right, so you can't go blooming wrong putting those to one side. Now they don't actually mention these until right at the end. These are the stabilizers for the tail stroke elevators. There's two of them. They ask you to leave a little bit at the end free. I'll just sand it. Got to the point cutting it, just sand it. They don't actually mention these throughout the build as far as I recall, but you will find these on sheet 7. Okay, so another one there for the editing for the writer of the manual, should he wish to do so. So put those to one side. By the way, you may not be aware, you know these cheap and cheerful blades that they give you in the kit? You can actually change the blades on these. This is a blade I use myself, This is a 2E blade, and I use these in my metal handled. See if I can pick up the right one, because I use these normally, but this is actually the same blade. So if you want to get yourself a pack of blades, you can change the blade on your Cheap and Cheerful. So there you are. It's the Barron's topical tip. Now, what I need to remind you is you need to buy some balsa lock for when we come to do the wings. I found this useful. You're also going to need some alcohol, rubbing alcohol. There's a name for it. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. Some sort of solvent anyway, because sometimes the glue gets on your fingers or whatever, and you can just rub the alcohol onto the glue. It gets on the film once you're finished, and it brings it all off pretty instantly, and makes the rest of the film and wings look absolutely superb. Now, more interestingly, first attempt, second attempt. You can see from the imprint, you know where I'm going to go with this, don't you? Okay, this little so-and-so, oh yes, this vexed me. It says, come on, let's have a look at this, right? Okay, it says, cut a piece of film 16 centimeters by 16, place the face of the cowl on the middle of the film, checking there is enough film to cover the whole cowl side all the way around. Set the cover into 225 degrees C, up to 130 degrees C. Stick the film to the front face of the cowl, ensuring there are no air bubbles. Well, that's fair enough. You can do that. I know I did it. Turn up the covering iron temperature to 150 degrees C, 160 degrees C. Stretch the film around the curve of the cowl. No, no. I spent 2 days trying to do this, and I saved these pieces really just to show you, and I ripped them off, and it was just crinkling up and everything else, and it just wasn't working for me. So I had to think about it, and I had a Barron moment. I think I was at work, and I thought to myself, hang on a minute, I've had an idea. This is the idea. This is it's a 7-inch loop, and I remember my mother using these. My mother did a little bit of as a hobby cross stitch, and I thought, put the film inside here. So what you do, you undo this clamp. This middle section comes out. You just put the trap the film inside. Okay, and then you tighten this up. And then I'm just going to move the camera now to show you something. I then got a soup ladle out the kitchen. She doesn't know I've got it. I put it in my vise, rested this on top, and this is the part where she did find out that I had actually got the ladle. And I got my good lady to hold the heat gun. Now, this is my heat gun. It's not one made for models, but it's made for paint stripping. Got 2 settings on it. Put it on the lowest setting. Put this on top. Got this like this. I got her to heat it up, and I just went like this, and it covered it almost in one go. So now I had the film. Oh, hang on, dropped it. So I almost had the film round it like that. Okay, and it did look pretty good, I have to admit. But obviously, I've got to make good the sides. Yeah. So what I did was I got some leather gloves and bit my tongue and got my other half to heat up the edges, and I just pulled it and pulled it and pulled it and let it cool down so the memory would go out of the polymers. and once the memory's gone out the polymers, it stays there. It's not the glue that's making it stay there, it's the fact that it's lost its memory, because plastic has a memory. And then I just went round, and it took 3 circles to go all the way round, while my other half was holding the heat gun. You know, and sometimes it got a bit hot on the fingers, and I said, no, take it off. Or it was getting too hot, and it's, you know, so just went round and round and round. And in the end, it took half an hour. Half an hour. This was on day 3, so I spent 3 days, and it took me half an hour. And this is how it came out. Now, I'm not going to say it's perfect, but it's good enough. It's good enough. And then, of course, you need to paint it up. Now, I'm going to put a little more drop of black on this, but yeah, you need to paint it up, put some black in there, and then just pop these, shove your iron in the middle there, and just use your knife to trim off any excess. And there you go. It's done. It's done, and that's what you can expect to do. I think doing it with the iron like this, it's, well, for me, I couldn't do it. It defeated me, and I wasn't prepared to spend another day trying to get it right when I could just do it in half an hour. And really, I'm not joking, that really took half an hour, but I did need another pair of hands. So that's what I did. So if you can't get a hoop, this actually, this is 7 inches, a 7-inch hoop cross stitch. I've marked it 7 inch. I will use this again. This cost me in UK pounds £3.75 new pence. Okay, decimal pence. £3.75. So I think in American dollars that's 130,937 and 6 cents or something. In yen, it's about 3 yen. So yeah, there you go. So that is, I think, enough for now, because now that all these items have been covered and that's been done, I am going to start the fuzz. I want to have a look at this first, because there are some compound curves on there, and I really need to look at this. I will read the book, obviously, but I'm not going to put my whole faith in it, if I'm going to be honest with you. And I will be using some balsa lock. You see me use this with the SE5A if you've been watching at all. So balsa lock, there you go. Protect against freezing. Water based, so it's good for birds and fish and chips. There you are. So I'm going to end it here. Thank you for joining me, and I very, very much hope you've gained something from it. I will be using the sock in the next one, and please keep watching. If you've bought this kit, I genuinely hope you go through all the videos before committing the start on it. It's going to be useful, I think, to you. And I may actually be going up to the Vintage Model Company perhaps this weekend. I have another project in my head, and I want to see what they have available, because I think they've been having problems with supplies. But if I get the chance, I'll drive up. I think they're near Derby, Buxton, I think it is. They have a playhouse there, and spring water, as it happens. So yeah, on the original Barron, by the way, just before I go, some people paint this white, and some people do a silver or a chrome. Now, I'm not really sure whether that was correct. I think he had a red cowl on it, but I do think he had the white for the crosses as a square, and I'm still thinking about putting that square on the wings and the fuselage, but we'll see. I've made my final mind up about that, but it does not seem to be a definitive answer. But from what I can see from old photographs, it was all red and with a white square with the cross on it. Anyway, we'll see. So yeah, thank you for joining me, and I will stop talking now because some people cannot stand the sound of my voice. Be prepared to struggle with this. It is a bugger, it really is, but that was the way I found around it, and I hope you'll take on board what the Barron says about that. Order one of these hoops and get somebody to hold the heat gun, and for goodness sakes wear some protection on your hands. You will burn your hands if you don't have any gloves on. Trust me, it's a topical tip, and as I've said many times, health and safety, you know, I'm not here for your enjoyment to watch me dancing around with the burned hands. Protect your hands, okay? I've told you, don't go suing me and stuff like that. I've got no money anyway. Well, certainly not after buying all of these models anyway. And I will love you and leave you. Spread the love, spread the word, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you for joining me.